Don't ever call me old man again. Unless you want your teeth rattling in your pocket. Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Tom Highway, Heartbreak Ridge, 1986. Heartbreak Ridge wasn't just a gritty military action film. It was a defiant last stand, not just for Clint Eastwood's battle-scarred Marine sergeant, but for an entire generation of Hollywood storytellers fighting against studio cynicism, budget cuts, and shifting cultural tides. Today, we're pulling back the camouflage net on the film's wildest secrets. From near-fatal training accidents to a real-life general threatening to pull military support, these are the untold battles that shaped the movie. Here are 15 weirdest facts about Heartbreak Ridge, 1986. You never knew, plus one buried bonus revelation even die-hard Eastwood fans have missed. Clint Eastwood rewrote the entire third act after filming had already begun. It wasn't a script. It was a battlefield in itself. When production on Heartbreak Ridge kicked off in early 1986, the screenplay's final act depicted a prolonged, chaotic firefight through Grenada's jungle terrain. But Pentagon consultants immediately flagged it as tactically implausible. Fearing loss of military cooperation, Eastwood scrapped the original climax just weeks into shooting. Working nights in his trailer between 16-hour days, he handwrote a leaner, more disciplined sequence now iconic. Highway's squad infiltrating the enemy compound, using coordinated suppressive fire and radio deception. The rewrite wasn't just logistical, it reflected Eastwood's core belief: discipline beats chaos. Real Marines don't Rambo their way through, he told co-writer James Karabatsos. They adapt. The new ending not only satisfied military advisors, but elevated the film's realism. What audiences remember as seamless tactical brilliance was in fact an emergency fix born of pressure. And it worked so well, the Marine Corps later used clips from the scene in leadership training. Eastwood didn't just save the movie, he made it a manual. The Pentagon almost pulled all support over one line of dialogue. Military cooperation wasn't granted, it was earned, then nearly revoked. Early drafts included a scene where Highway mocks a young officer. "You couldn't find your butt with both hands in a mirror, sir." The line, meant to highlight generational friction, sent shockwaves through Defense Department liaisons. A high-ranking Marine general reportedly stormed out of a script review, declaring, "We won't lend a single rifle if that insult stays in." Eastwood, refusing to fully capitulate, negotiated fiercely. The compromise? Replaced the line with Highway's now famous "adapt or die" speech, turning mockery into mentorship. But the damage lingered. For weeks, equipment shipments stalled, helicopter clearances vanished, and extras in authentic uniform were suddenly off-limits. Eastwood's team scrambled, retrofitting civilian gear to resemble Marine fatigues. The tension bled into dailies. Actors were told to tone down the swagger, to avoid embarrassing the Corps. What audiences saw as authentic military grit was, in part, a carefully sanitized performance crafted under the silent threat of total withdrawal. The film's realism. It was real, but only as far as the Pentagon allowed. Eastwood trained with active-duty Marines for 3 weeks and refused a stunt double. It wasn't acting. It was immersion. At age 56, Eastwood arrived at Camp Lejeune weeks before filming, insisting on full integration with enlisted Marines. He slept in barracks, ran morning PT, and endured the same brutal conditioning as recruits, despite studio concerns about insurance liability. "If I'm going to play a Marine, I better move like one," he told producers. During live fire drills, he carried a full 60-pound pack over muddy terrain, often outpacing younger actors. When a scene called for Highway to vault over concertina wire under simulated gunfire, the stunt team prepared pads and rigs. Eastwood waved them off. "I'll do it clean." He performed the jump 3 times in full gear, the third take leaving his forearm gashed by barbed wire. Medics rushed in, but he finished the shot before allowing treatment. This wasn't ego. It was respect. He knew Marines would spot a fake, and the Corps noticed. After release, Camp Lejeune invited him to speak at graduation. His commitment didn't just sell the role, it earned him a silent nod from the very institution he portrayed. On screen, Highway's toughness feels earned. Because it was. The Grenada invasion footage was so real, veterans thought it was archival. What audiences didn't know: every explosion, every radio crackle, every muddy boot print was staged but felt ripped from headlines. Heartbreak Ridge released just 3 years after the real 1983 U.S. invasion of Grenada, and Eastwood insisted on mirroring actual events. He studied after-action reports, interviewed veterans, and even recreated the layout of the True Blue Campus Medical School, where U.S. students were rescued. When the film premiered, dozens of Grenada vets walked out, stunned, convinced they were watching declassified footage. "I swear I saw Jenkins fall just like that," one former Marine told a reporter. The illusion was so potent because Eastwood banned movie war cliches. No slow-motion heroics, no orchestral swell.